So today you and I are going down to the lumber store to pick up some material for a ramp we're building for an old friend of mine. Zeus is my 12-year-old German Shepherd who, when he was about 8 years old, ended up getting a septic disease in his joints. Now, we got it all figured out and stuff, but I think later on in life, it's starting to affect him again. So today, we're going to help him out with getting in and out of the house by building a ramp. Let's get started. If this is your first time to Paul's project, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that bell icon so you guys don't miss any of the videos. I'll see you guys at the shop. Let's talk about the tools you're going to need for this job. You are going to need a carpenter's square. You're going to need some decking screws, 3-inch are what I'm using. You don't need to use 3-inch. You can use 2-inch. 3-inch is a bit of an overkill. You can use a skill saw, a miter saw, or something to cut your angles with. Now, I'm suggesting that you use something with a motor in it because it's going to take much less time, but you can also use some kind of a hand saw. Okay, you use a tape measure, of course. We need our tape measure. How the heck are we going to know how long things are? And of course, you're going to need some form of a drill, screwdriver or something. Please don't use a screwdriver, this will take forever. And then you're gonna need a speed triangle as well as a torpedo level. That's it. Now, in terms of the weight of this build, you know, if I were you, I wouldn't drive a tractor up it, but hey, I'm not you. I'm building this ramp for Zeus, but you know, it's very, very sturdy, as you've seen in the picture with the tractor. If you guys are using this as a wheelchair ramp, there are specific guidelines that you guys need to follow, so please make sure you guys follow them. I'm sure 100% it would hold a wheelchair, but again, there's guidelines, so make sure you guys follow those guidelines, okay? All right, so before we get cutting into our materials, we're gonna need to figure out the rise and run of our ramp. Now to do that, we need the degree of which our ramp is sloped. Now to get this, I'm gonna show you guys here in a second how to do it. But first, after you get this number and you figure out how long you need your ramp and how high it should be, you may have obstacles in your way to get there. So you guys have a bit of a variance here by bringing it back about 3 degrees. Now that means you're gonna have about 2 feet to play with, at least with my ramp. Okay, if you go any more than that, you're probably gonna have too steep of a ramp, especially for a wheelchair, and you might wanna move your ramp. All right, so now we need to figure out the slope. And the way we do that is in the description below. As I mentioned before, there are some guidelines, specifically 3 guidelines. One is a 1:12 ratio, one is a 2:12 ratio, and one is a 1:16 ratio. We're gonna use the 2:12 ratio. Now what that means is for every 2 feet of rise, we're gonna need 12 feet of length. Another scenario, if you have 4 feet of rise, you're gonna need 24 feet of length. Get the idea? It's pretty easy. All right, so to get started, I used a 2x12 and a 2x6. Both of them were pressure treated. The 2x12, I just wanted to cut up into 2 pieces of 2x6. I started out by cutting it to length and then ripping it into 2x6s. Once we had that all done, we now have our 3 joists that we're gonna use for our ramp. All right, so now from here, what we're gonna wanna do is take our contractor square and our level, and we're gonna wanna put them on the end of our joist with the inside corner on the corner of the joist. Putting our level on top, as you can see here, and then we're just gonna level it and mark it on the bottom. All right, so now all you gotta do is take it over to your bench or whatever it is you're cutting it on and cut it. Now here's a pro tip for you. Don't cut it on outdoor furniture. You could potentially get in trouble from your wife. So you may have to cut a notch out of the joist at the top of your stairs. Now to do this, all I did was I took the height of my plywood, which was 1/2 inch, and I took it off the bottom. Then I used the common slot of the speed square to mark the angle. All right, once we have that done, the other two joists I actually had to shim up a bit. So the way I did this was I took a small piece of plywood, put it on top of my joist, and then shimmed it up so that it was level with the top of my stairs. Now that I have my ramp level and we have it flush to the top of the stairs, now we have to cut the mid supports for the joists. To do this, all I did was measured in between the joists and cut the boards to length. So as I was putting the support board up, Zeus had to go to the bathroom. Now here's a prime example of why we need to build this ramp. All right, so now that we have all the hard parts done, all we gotta do is put our decking down. So now your deck is pretty much done, but you're probably gonna wanna pretty it up a bit. So the first thing I did here was I measured the top of my stairs and I cut 2 pieces of plywood to match that. So I don't know about you guys, but I hate painting. So I had my wife take some stain, put it on the top and the sides of the ramp to prevent any moisture from getting into the wood. Once all the painting was done, all we had to do was lay our outdoor carpet on it and we were good to go. Or I should say Zeus was good to go. So it's been a few months since we built the ramp and everything is still really sturdy and strong. We ended up actually putting grip tape on it so that when the dogs went up and down it, they weren't slipping. When the carpet got wet, it got a bit slippery, but I enjoy it and I can tell you right now, Zeus is really enjoying it as well too. If this is your first time to Paul's Project, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to check out these videos here and hit that like button if you like the video. We'll see you next time on Paul's Projects.